There have been many outlaws in history. Robin Hood, for example. Yeah? Ned Kelly in Australia. Uh, that 2011 song by 50 Cent. Oh, and of course, Nathan the Outlaw, multi-Michelin starred chef and genius at cooking fish and seafood. But now there's a new outlaw in town. Like Ned Kelly, these guys are from Australia, but they make paint. I've tried some of it, and let me tell you, it is good. Find out more right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi there, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today, I'm trying out some paints by a new outfit called Outlaw Paints from Australia. I've got my hands on some pre-sale samples. The range goes live in the UK in November. They're launching at the Scale Model World exhibition at Telford. Now, I'm going to do a real world test on this. I've seen some tests spraying other things. I'm going to do a real world test. I've got an Airfix 1/72 scale Bolt and Pull Defiant that I've made. I'm going to be painting that with their paints. Now, if you like the show, please do remember, Imperial thumbs up on the like button below, please, because every like counts. And if you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. You'll be notified of all my future videos as they are released. And of course, if you want to offer a bit more concrete support, you can do that through Super Thanks, by becoming a channel member, or indeed by using any of my online partner programs. Now, for the sake of transparency, I should say these samples were sent to me for free by the Outlaws UK distributor, which is spruebox.co.uk. However, I will say they're not paying me to say anything in particular. They haven't even sent me a huge sample. I mean, this is the size samples they said. It's not like they're paying for my painting for a year on these. All they want is my honest opinion about the paints and how they go on and things like that. That's exactly what they're going to get. That's exactly what you're going to get. So let's make a start and have a look at how we get on with Outlaw Paints. Here I have a 1/72 scale Bolt and Pull Defiant from Airfix. I've assembled most of the structure, so I'm now going to apply the black primer I was sent. It goes down pretty well. The coverage is good, and I'm not pushing too much through as I don't want it pooling or orange peeling. The finish has a decent matte look, and it doesn't take too much to cover even things like bare transparency. Now I've done some pre-shading with white, Tamiya XF2. In fact, let's see how the beige green underside colour deals with it. Okay, it's looking good. It's very easy to use sparingly. You worry because it's so thin, it's just going to come flooding out. But it's really easy to control, so it doesn't overcome the shading straight away. It dries really quickly, so you can recoat in little steps to get just the amount of cover you want. The colour to me does look just a little bit too green, but then I guess sky was a greenish colour. But you can't fault the pigment density of such a pale colour going down essentially on black. Very impressive. I masked the underside with tape, and then I did the top coat of BS Dark Brown, waited an hour or so, then applied my masking putty. So now I can spray the BS Dark Green on top of that. It takes the green very well indeed. I'll leave it another hour or so to see how well it sets, and if the putty affected the surface, which of course it really shouldn't. There we are then. I've taken the putty off with absolutely no issues, of course, but even taking the masking tape off, there was no lift off at all. Normally, if I'm using acrylics, I need to leave it a day or so at least, or lay down a varnish coat to properly seal it on before I can use tape. But this was fine after an hour with nothing else on top. The beige green looks to me like it's just settled down a bit and now looks absolutely spot on for colour. I am really impressed. Just so you know, I was given about this much paint to try in each colour. After the first kit, the Defiant, the beige green has about a third of this amount left. The brown and the dark green each about a half of this amount left. So it does actually go a long way, even though it is very, very liquid. I think that's a lot to do with the density of the pigments. I also like how the paint respects the panel lines, so there's probably no need to pin wash unless it's part of a bigger weathering effect. I've got some paint left, so I'm going to spray this egg Lancaster. I've primed it with my usual grey Genelite acrylic, so we can see how it goes down on that. I'll kick off with the dark brown again. It goes on beautifully evenly, nice and flat. Again, I'm using putty to mask the camouflage, then the dark green can go on. Now here it looks like I've got a bit of orange peel in this light, but it's drying perfectly flat. Maybe I was just a little bit too enthusiastic with the trigger. Bottom half of the kit is all over black. Luckily, I didn't use any of that for the Defiant, so I will have enough. I think it's what the RAF called night. It's like that slightly off black. And I think the finish is excellent. It's much better than my usual Vallejo Model Air black. The coat is thin enough that I don't need to sand paint off this piece before fitting it, and the tape on the tailplane didn't lift any paint either. There we go then. I loved them. Loved using these paints. Now I use a lot of Vallejo acrylics and AK and ammo and so on and so forth, the more water-based acrylics. I don't use a lot of lacquer acrylics, but my goodness, I'm changing my mind very quickly. These things go on so quickly. The pigment density in these paints is incredible. It is phenomenal how quickly you can build up coats and build up color, but you can really control it. Beautiful. Um, I like the fact it dries really quickly and it bonds really quickly. I mean, I was doing masking, taking off the masks after an hour and without any varnish on top as well, just straight onto the paint, masks, off it comes. Nothing came with it. Normally, on acrylics, I'd be putting in a coat of varnish as well before I put on anything else. And then what that means is you've got coat upon coat upon coat upon coat. You're going to start losing all your surface detail and stuff like that. You have to spend ages then doing panel line washes and stuff. I haven't done any panel line wash on this kit. I don't need to because all the panel lines are there because the paint is so dense it goes on, stays on, job done. Really, really impressed. I am super excited about trying some more of these when they're launched in November. And the cleanup is really easy. I mean, bit of thinners, rinse out there, bit of IPA, isopropyl alcohol, done. Absolutely fine. No problems at all with that. Downsides. Well, this applies to pretty much any lacquer-based paint. In fact, most paints in general, but lacquer-based paints in particular, because the solvents are complex organic chemicals rather than water and a few other bits and pieces, you really should use an extractor system or very, very well ventilated room if you can. These very fine, watery, I mean, this is like waterless stuff, even thinner than water, if you can imagine such a thing. They atomize to tiny droplets and they go everywhere. They will go everywhere unless you've got an extractor or unless you've got a really nice ventilation path going through. Even then, you might want to think about wearing a mask. And as I say, it's not specific to Outlaw Paints. You'd be doing this with Mr. Colour or with Alclad or any of these sort of organic solvent-based paints. You really should be using good extraction, and you should really be wearing a mask if you can. I mean, let's face it, we've all got enough masks lying around after the last few years. I know I have. Other than that, really, I have fallen in love with. Obviously, you can't brush paint with them, but I don't do that much detail in brush painting that I need to, and a lot of the detail is going to go on. All of my washes will go on to this quite happily. I do need to check whether there's some enamel washes that say you have to use acrylics first. I will check with James whether that's the same with these lacquer-based paints, because I haven't tried that, but I'll find out about that. Otherwise, I actually can't see any reason why I won't be using these in the future, other than I've got to wait till November to get some. The paints are exceptional. They're lovely. The colour density is good. The colour accuracy is fine. I did put down some sky. It's REF beige green, I think, rather than technically sky type B, which I think was a little bit later. So it's a little bit green at first when it goes down, but when it dries, that green, harsh bit of green just disappears, and you get that sort of not duck eggy colour, but you know the colour I mean. The early Second World War British colours underneath was quite green, which is when you see people building early model Spitfires and they put the band around about. The band actually was normally a very pale blue kind of colour, so you should be able to see the contrast, and a lot of people just paint it in sky or whatever anyway. This has got such a nice colour. The dark earth and the dark green look amazing to me. I can't tell you how they're going to come out on the video because there's a lot of issues between what I'm looking at under my studio lighting and what you're going to see on your screen. There's a load of steps where automatic color correction is being done that I can't do anything about, including on your monitors that you're watching them on. So don't judge the colors by what you see on screen. I think they're really, really good. From having seen this stuff up at Hendon and other museums and having a feel for what that color should look like, I'm really happy with how those colors come out. Best option, of course, is maybe just try one or two. The colors you're really critical about, when they come out in November, try one or two of them and give them a go and see what you think. I think you'd be really impressed. I know I am. Anyway, that's enough of that for today. If you've enjoyed the show, I really hope you have. Please remember, Imperial thumbs up on the like button below because every like counts. And if you haven't done so yet, please remember, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, and you'll see all of my future videos as they're published, be they builds, reviews, commentaries, and of course, the regular Monday Matters show. Thank you so very much for watching today. Hope you enjoyed it. See you very soon on the channel, I hope. Thanks very much and goodbye.